Right now, as you wake up, an Amber Alert issued overnight. State police are now looking for 4-year-old Taos boy and his mother. They say Kingston Rodriguez was last seen with his mom, 36-year-old Katrina Bryant, yesterday in Taos. State police tell us the boy is supposed to be in state custody. Bryant was last seen driving a black Dodge SUV with the license plate LYG945. Authorities say they may be heading to Texas. Rodriguez is described as 3'8" and 50 pounds with brown eyes and black hair. We're going to stay on top of the latest developments on this. You'll find those on the KRQE News app. Also happening now, APS students are returning to class this morning as the district moves forward without their latest superintendent, Dr. Luis Valentino.
Yeah, after 3 days of closed-door meetings, the board finally announced yesterday Valentino will leave APS.
I move that the APS Board of Education authorize and agree to the terms of the voluntary resignation.
APS will pay Valentino $20,000 for the next month, even though he's not working. He'll get another $80,000 on top of that, making his total buyout $100,000. This is all over Valentino's personal hiring of APS Deputy Superintendent Jason Martinez. He's awaiting trial on child molestation charges in Denver and never underwent a background check before getting hired by the district.
Education Secretary Hannah Scandera, meantime, will have to sign off on the decision as to whether Valentino actually gets to walk away with $100,000. But from what she said so far, she's not too keen on another big buyout. This is part of that statement. Scandera says in it, quote, that she finds the proposed buyout to be very concerning, and so does the public. She adds that she's already heard from constituents who are not happy with APS's proposal. And
buying out a superintendent's contract is nothing new at APS. In 2002, Brad Ellison was given $380,000 to leave after a very public battle with alcohol and drug addiction. He took the district to court, but he lost. Last year, APS gave Winston Brooks $350,000 to leave after an investigation involving Brooks and his wife. The buyout agreement included keeping the details secret. So the next step here will be searching again for another superintendent for APS, and that could cost the district even more money if they go the same route they used to hire Valentino. It sure can. New this morning, News 13's Catherine Mazzone looked into why another national search may not be the best option for APS. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. While it's costing APS $100,000 to get rid of Valentino, it costs another $35,000 to get him here. That's what APS spent on a nationwide search for superintendent. There's no word yet if the board plans on doing that again. But a Washington Post article points out those big national searches that put headhunting firms in charge of the district's next leader sometimes miss the mark. The article says the search often misses the best people for the job. The reason? According to the Washington Post, a national search will yield many candidates who have just been fired or are unhappy in their current superintendent jobs, and often not the best people to lead a district with similar problems. The article states an internal candidate may be a better option. Before Valentino got the job at APS, he was up against 5 other finalists. Here they are behind me. There were 2 from New Mexico, 2 from Texas, and 1 from California. The board then whittled the pool down to just 3. Almudena Abeta from Santa Fe, Michael Cordona from Houston, and, of course, Luis Valentino. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. And that board, by the way, is set to meet tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
And while APS begins its search for a new superintendent, APS veteran Raquel Reedy will serve as the interim. She has worked at the district for almost 40 years. She started in 1976 as a special ed teacher and worked her way up. When asked if she was ready for what could be a long-term commitment, she said she'll take it one day at a time.
Meanwhile, the man whose hiring at APS sparked the original controversy is out of jail this morning. Jason Martinez bailed out late last night in Colorado. He's been ordered to wear an ankle monitor.
And as the district moves on, the governor is now blaming top officials within APS for the scandal.
They should never have someone with those type of allegations of sexual assault against a child be a part of a school system. But it's so dysfunctional that they didn't have that background check.
The governor also says she wants to make sure everyone is requiring timely background checks and wants to see if the state needs tougher policies. She also says Valentino should have been fired without a buyout, saying that money is better spent in the classroom.
Stay with KRQE News 13 for continuing coverage of the APS scandal. To read his settlement agreement and the resignation letter, go to the KRQE News app. Jury selection is expected to continue today in the trial for an Albuquerque man charged in the death of a 9-year-old boy. Stephen Casaus is on trial, accused of child abuse resulting in death and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors say his stepson, Omari Varela, was kicked to death by his mom in 2013, and Casaus did nothing to stop it. Cynthia Varela Casaus, Omari's mother, will stand trial separately. Her case is now on hold while it's determined whether she's competent to stand trial.
Also happening today, state, federal, and local authorities will be in Farmington to answer questions on the Gold King mine spill into the Animas River. Officials say the experts at the town hall style meeting will also be offering technical assistance for those living in San Juan County affected by the spill. Last month, the EPA admitted to spilling 3 million gallons of toxic metals into the Animas River after pressure built up inside that mine. Authorities say they're now focusing on recovery and monitoring the long-term impacts of the spill. Today's meeting will be at the McGee Park multi-use building from 3 this afternoon until 8. And happening now near the Hawaiian Islands, Category 4 Hurricane Jimena is churning in the eastern Pacific, headed in the path past Hawaii. This photo taken from the International Space Station shows just how massive the storm is in comparison to the moon there. Forecasters say it will follow the path of Category 2 Hurricane Ignacio, which is now passing north of the Big Island. The storm is still close enough to bring 100-mile-per-hour winds to parts of the islands today. Those winds could cause some dangerously high surf through the middle of the week.
And 6:38 happening today, family and friends will say goodbye to slain photographer Adam Ward during what they're calling a celebration of life ceremony. That will be held in Roanoke, Virginia. Ward was gunned down last week while he and reporter Allison Parker did a lot of interview. Yesterday, more than 1,000 people flooded the high school where he played football for a visitation. A private funeral was held for Parker last night.
Thoughts and prayers still with them this morning. We turn out to this. A college party goes bad when a woman dancing on the roof is pushed off. Take a look at your TV screens. In the video, you can see a man pushes a 20-year-old off as a crowd screams jump from below. The whole thing captured on several cameras at night. The man who did the pushing is now facing assault and battery charges, but witnesses say the woman was going to jump anyway. Still, prosecutors argue she suffered whiplash and that the push was violent.
What an ordeal there.
Yeah.
Right now, students are heading back to class in Albuquerque as the district moves forward without Superintendent Luis Valentino, who is stepping down from his post soon, but he's not leaving empty-handed. His resignation follows the personal hiring of Jason Martinez as deputy superintendent, a man accused of child sex crimes. The board met several times to determine Valentino's fate. Yesterday, they unanimously voted to accept his resignation. He'll get an $80,000 settlement and be paid for the month of October, which equals about $20,000 more. The board said very little about its decision.
We had long and hard discussion about how to move this district forward and are comfortable and confident about the statement that we've issued.
Valentino has to be out of his office by next Tuesday.
That turns us now to this developing portion of that story. This morning, an APS parent is not ready to move forward after the resignation of Valentino. He wants the entire school board gone as well, saying they've made a big mistake. Jacob Gill is the same parent who created a petition to oust Valentino. That petition has garnered more than 3,000 signatures. Now he's looking to get rid of the entire school board. He is upset with how they let Valentino leave with that $100,000 buyout and a letter of recommendation.
Me and a group of concerned parents, as well as other organizations, are going to go forward with the recall election.
So Gill says he plans to show up to the next APS board meeting with recall petitions ready to be signed. He says he's confident that he has the support to get the board recalled. The next APS board meeting is set for tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the evening.
Happening now, APS veteran Raquel Reedy is serving as the interim superintendent. She's worked for the district for almost 40 years, starting in 1976 as a special ed teacher, and then she worked her way up. When asked if she was ready for what could be a long-term commitment, she says that she'll take it one day at a time.
We turn out to another developing story this morning. House Democrats say if embattled Secretary of State Diana Duran does not resign, they may move to impeach her.
We think that in this instance, the allegations and the evidence that we've seen so far rise to that level of seriousness.
On Friday, Attorney General Hector Balderas filed 64 criminal charges against Duran, claiming she funneled campaign donations into her personal bank accounts, then spent the money in casinos. Governor Martinez says if the allegations are true, Duran should resign. House Democrats say if she does not, they would like to move forward with impeachment proceedings, something only the House can start. House Republican leadership would not say Monday if they would be in favor of that. Even if she is not impeached, though, or doesn't resign, any felony conviction would result in Duran's automatic removal from office. News 13 has reached out to the secretary for her side of the story. We have yet to hear back from her. We did some digging and found the legislature has had to look into impeachment before. In 2005, the House started hearing evidence against then State Treasurer Robert Vigil, who was facing federal corruption charges. He resigned during the process and was later convicted. 4 years ago, former PRC Commissioner Jerome Block resigned weeks after a House committee was formed to hear evidence against him.
Stay with KRQE News 13 for continuing coverage on the call for Diana Duran to resign. For more, including full criminal charges, go to the KRQE News app. Happening tomorrow, the hearing for the murder trial of Freddie Gray is expected to begin.
Yeah, but police in Baltimore, they say they're not taking any chances in this. They're trying to avoid any riots during the pretrial hearings for the 6 officers accused in the arrest of Gray. The 25-year-old died from spinal injuries he got while in police custody. That ignited a week-long protest there and a violent riot that left several officers injured. The department is now beefing up presence near the courthouse, ready for whatever comes their way.
6:06 and turning to a live look over our nation's capital this morning, where the State Department has released another batch of emails from Hillary Clinton's private account. And here's what's new this morning. We've learned at least 150 of those emails, according to the department, contained classified information. The latest revelation is raising more questions about Clinton's use of a private email server during her time as Secretary of State. Some political experts say the controversy is already taking a toll on her presidential campaign.
We turn now to some breaking news out of the Vatican City this morning, where Pope Francis has just announced a major change in the way the Catholic Church treats women who have had an abortion. Women who have an abortion will no longer need a bishop's permission to avoid excommunication. Rather, it allows priests to absolve women who've had them if they seek forgiveness during the upcoming Holy Year of Mercy. The change applies only during the Holy Year that runs from December 8th, 2015 to November 20th of 2016. We turn out to this morning. Bluebell ice cream is going to be back on store shelves soon. It comes 4 months after a listeria outbreak halted production and led to a voluntary recall. Look at all the cheers there, right? Bluebell's Alabama plant has been producing and testing ice cream since July and says they have found no products that would not meet standards. The release is being done in phases. Unfortunately, New Mexico will be one of the last states to get it.
The State Tourism Department has added another map of places that people should visit. They've created a wine trail. Many people may not know that New Mexico is the oldest wine producing, one of the oldest wine producing regions in the U.S. The trail shows where you can find more than 50 wineries across the state. You can also sign up for the NM Wine Passport and earn a stamp at each winery and then redeem them for prizes. For more information and to see the map, just go to the KRQE News app. Another reason to love New Mexico right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, some thieves are stopping at nothing to grab some expensive clothing. Take a look at the video here. Criminals rammed through the front door of a store in Lansing, Illinois, trying to grab loads of clothes there. The store owner says this is not the first time, believe it or not, that this has happened. A few weeks back, thieves carved a hole in the wall, broke in, then took off with several items that time. The store has been in business for 30 years. The owner says a recent rash of crime is taking a toll on their finances, especially with the damages and the $400 pair of pants that thieves keep taking.
This surprised me when I saw the story. It was jeans or pants that they're going for.
Designer jeans.
Typically it's like jewelry or something.
Right. $400 though for a pair of jeans.
If you could sell a few of those, I could see why it would be a target, but wow.